Hey, what's up guys? It's Zach with Wired Customs, and today we're doing another Flathead Resurrection video. If you stay to the very end of the video, I'm going to give tips and tricks to starting a sitting flathead. So let's get to work. Alright, so I'm heading out to my buddy Wayne's house. He's got a 50 Ford shoebox. Supposedly it was a running driving car. They parked it in the garage as a driver, and it just sat there for a couple years because other projects were more important type story. So he got it for a parts car for his 50 Woody that I'm building for him, and hopefully the drivetrain is in good shape. We could use it, so I'm gonna try to get it started and hopefully don't run into any complications. I'm gonna split the top off of it and fill it full of gas.
Oh, okay.
Fill this up with gas.
Make a nice police car.
You'd make a nice blue car is how this sits.
Zach is no help when it comes to doing cars.
to flipping them. Don't keep everything.
Hang on the giggle. You can edit that, man.
Oh, I'm leaving that in, Wayne.
Huh?
You can be the star of the show.
Oh, okay.
This might have the wrong power valve in it.
Wrong what?
Wrong power valve in it. If you put the wrong power valve in it, it'll leak.
Oh.
Positive ground, probably.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Oh, it's definitely positive ground.
We don't have to start it up like that, though.
Huh?
We don't have to start it up. Oh, man, that cap looks nice. That looks new on the inside, Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, the condenser, the points look new, Wayne.
Oh, boy. Sounded good, huh?
Yeah.
Worst part about it so far is it needs oil change, right?
Yeah, it's gonna need oil for sure. I wouldn't want to run it very long without trying to drop the pan. Usually is what you should do. These love to sludge up the little windage trays in the oil pan. The APA is not as bad. It doesn't have as many as the 59. Points look good. Oil's okay. The freaking coolant is perfect. It looks like it's new, really. So let's get that battery out, and I'll get my little jump wire for the coil. So hopefully contact's good. Put this on the positive side of the coil. Probably gonna have to sand that. That doesn't look good.
Make a nice police car.
You keep saying that, it's gonna end up over at my house, Wayne.
You want to take it away from me?
Yeah, come over here when you're sleeping all night. Alright, you want to be the starter, and I'll be the.
Here's
Here's the starter one here.
Yep.
And I pulled this back and cleaned this connection here for the starter. So you hook it right to that.
Wait, just hit that.
Yeah. Turn the choke on and see what happens.
Ready?
Yeah. Let's close down on it.
Ain't doing nothing.
Must be the starter. You got a hammer and an extension? Nothing?
Nothing.
It's kicking out, but it's not spinning over. let's give it a minute. We'll start your truck up, give it a little more amps.
Crank it up?
Yeah. Stuck. You hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably sitting for a while.
Yeah. Can you see down in there, Wayne, on the car? You see we're getting gas when I push it? It squirts. You know when it squirts. Still not squirting? You should be getting squirt out of the series. You gotta do the gas and water bottle thing. But you got some starting fluid. I'm surprised. I mean, that looks like a brand new carburetor. Accelerator pump's not getting gas. So we put a rebuilt carburetor on it. I took the cover off of it and filled it full of gas. When I had it sitting out on the fender, I had my rag down and it's leaking onto the rag through the throttle body. So I'm kind of guessing that it has that power valve that has a step in it. That one that has a step doesn't seal and it'll leak all the gas right into the carburetor or right into the throttle body. So I'm kind of worried that we flooded the engine and now we're going to try to put gas in it and start it up that way, and it's just going to be flooded. It's not going to start, but we'll see. We'll crank it over some more, put some starting fluid in there, spray some in there. We'll try to start it up and see if it'll fire off. It felt like it was a little stuck when I hooked the starter up at first, so hopefully there's no issues there. But it's kind of what you get, the game you play when you get an old flathead that's just sitting around. You don't know really what's going on the inside, but we'll figure it out. That other carburetor right there, will you take the flathead screws off the top of it and fill it full of gas? Let's see if we can get that one to squirt. Now let's get a look at it and see if it's squirting. I can hear it already. You see it squirting down there on the squirters?
No, I don't.
Man, I should have brought my carburetor over, Wayne. Thought we were good to go.
Well, he said that one was working.
Power valve ain't doing anything. I'll hook the vacuum up to it and we'll give it a go anyways.
And see what happened, right?
Yep. I mean, it's close to firing off right now, so hopefully it won't take too much longer. Or too much more anyways. I think I like this car too much already, Wayne.
So I just knew better. I should have known better than to get you to come over here. See, I'm thinking strip it all down, put a woody, and he's saying I ought to put it on the road.
I know you got a hood for it somewhere.
Well, that's probably the better hood.
Oh yeah, that was a run. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there we go, Wayne.
Keep on shooting, right?
Yeah, that was running right there.
Yeah.
Keep the gas, keep the gas. Yeah.
That's what we got to do. We gotta keep
Yeah, it's
shooting.
running. That's it. We're fighting gas now. Yeah, there it is, Wayne. Yeah. That's good. That's all we needed to know. All right.
That's it.
All right, so we got Wayne's shoebox running. Had some carburetor issues at first. That one carburetor looked brand new. The first one, I think the power valve was wrong in it. It was leaking out gas out the bottom of the carburetor. Then the second carburetor, the power valve wasn't squirting through the jets. So I think maybe it was an old leather power valve that was just wouldn't soak up the gas and actually expand and work. Because on all old carburetors, those leather gaskets on the power valve would actually flood up, expand, and actually start working again. I was hoping that's what happened with that one, but it didn't work out. So we had to keep feeding it with gas, and it was actually, once it started up, it started to run. It wanted to idle, but I was kind of keeping the throttle open just so we could keep dumping the gas in so it actually run. But I brought that nice carburetor home with me, and I'm going to take it apart and see what's going on with it. It probably shouldn't take too much to fix that one and get it going, because it actually is really clean, and it was put together really well. So we'll get to the bottom of that. But the engine runs. It wasn't knocking. The knocking noise was coming from the starter. There might be some issues with the starter, but we were putting 12 volts through a 6-volt starter, which is not uncommon, but it worked. All right, so let's go over some tips and tricks of resurrecting a flathead. The biggest deal is the oil. The oil likes to sludge up. In my experience, the sludge for a flathead is the worst in the oil valley. So always take off the intake, clean out the sludge, or see if there's no sludge. You might get lucky. Always drop the pan and make sure there's no sludge in the little windage trays in the oil pan. And always change your oil. Obviously look at coolant, but I've started a lot of flatheads up without coolant as long as it's for a short period of time. And the tools that you always want to have with you is the basic tools. I like to bring a test light, a voltmeter, a couple wires that I made with alligator clips on the ends so I can jump from the battery so I don't have to use the car's wiring at all. I never like to try to start a setting flathead with the car's wiring. You never know what you're going to get into. These old conduit wires, they dry out and crack and can start fires very easily. So disconnect the car's wiring and jump start the engine with your own jumper leads. If you want to know how to do the jumper leads, make sure you watch my previous video of Flathead Resurrection. Whenever I'm rescuing a flathead, I always take a 6-volt and 12-volt coil because you never know what you're going to run into. I always take a condenser. Condenser is super cheap, and it's a very common problem that flatheads have with issues of starting. I like to take a new carburetor with me, or a known good carburetor, one that I can rebuild. Just so happens that the 2 carburetors that we had on hand weren't ones that I rebuilt. So I wasn't completely sure if they were good or not until we actually started using them. It's just so much easier to flip a carburetor than trying to work one loose if it gets stuck, or if the float has bad old gas in it and it's stuck. So you never know what you're going to run into, so a good rebuilt carburetor is always a good way to go. So there you go, guys. Change the oil. Jump the engine. Don't use the car's wires. Bring a good carburetor with you, or pull the carburetor off, rebuild it, and put it back on. Fill the bowl full of fuel and move the bottom linkage on the carburetor. Look down inside of it, and the 2 squirters should be squirting fuel. Flatheads want to run, so you just got to make sure they have the basics: spark, compression, gas, and it'll fire right up. Once we got all 3 of those just right today on Wayne's car, it started right up. So if you have any questions, post them down in the comments. I'll answer every single one of them. Find me on Instagram, Facebook, and a new podcast that's coming out called Forgeducation. So make sure you look that up on your favorite podcast network. Thank you for watching.